Welcome to my channel. Today let's take a look at the Austrian Audio, the Full Score 1. Let's go! Please subscribe and leave a comment below. Here's the Austrian Audio, the Full Score 1 Headphone Amplifier. This is hefty. It's very, very well built. It looks like it's machined from one piece of metal, which is nice. No seams, just a front and a back. Nice engraved logo here on top, and it has some bulk to it, which is nice. It weighs 6 pounds or 2.8 kilos, and it has one 4-pin XLR here on the front. It has two 1/4-inch headphone outputs here. You have the volume knob, which is, look at how nice and big that is. It's very nice. And you have a power switch here, and you have this TTT switch, or True Transient Technology switch. You can switch on and off. We'll definitely talk about that later. On the back, you just have two XLRs and a pair of phones and an IEC input for power mains. So it's very, very simple. It does not function as a preamp or anything else. It's just straight up headphone amplifier. One of the things I really like about this thing is that you can drive 3 headphones simultaneously. So that's nice. There's a little gate here to cover up the XLR output. Other than that, that's all there is to it. It has 9 volts RMS. It's pretty powerful, I have to tell you that. It's rated to go down to 10 ohms. I'm not sure if I've ever heard of a headphone that dips below 10 ohm impedance, but I did try it extensively with a bunch of different headphones. That would be mostly my reference, which is the Audeze LCD-5, which actually has a nominal impedance of 16 ohms. So it's the lowest impedance headphones I have. The Head 2 and the Head 2 GT, I tried extensively on this, and especially the GT has a very, very low efficiency. Between those two headphones, it gave a really good representation of what this headphone amp is capable, as well as I also had the Austrian Audio, the Composer, totally different beast. The thing is about these 3 headphones is that they vary widely in both sound, but they're all very high end. This headphone amp had absolutely no problems driving any of them to very loud levels. So there's a lot of power on tap here, and I had 0 problems with being way too loud for what I can handle on any of those headphones. Just those GTs alone, they're so inefficient that they make a good match with this one. I also tried the Fostech 40 Mark IV, the Neumann NDH30, a 1DO cheap headphone, focal lenses, and an Audio-Technica 3000. All these headphones are pretty easy and relatively benign to drive, so there was no problems here whatsoever. There's also some protection circuitry in it if something goes wrong, to protect the unit, which is nice. And other than that, it's pretty simple. The build quality is magnificent. But from a studio perspective, the form factor here is neither a 1-space rack or 2. It's kind of an awkward thing, so it's really a desktop model. If this was intended to be in a studio, man, it might be a little bit of an issue finding a spot for it, but not a huge issue. And besides, it's a nice looking unit, so you want to see it. So this thing goes for about $1,500, and the fact that it can run 3 headphones simultaneously is a very, very good thing in the studio if you want to have your client or somebody else, a musician or something, listen to headphones at the same time to the same mix. Of course, depending on what the efficiency is of the headphones, you might get different levels, but I mean, the fact that it can do it, and I did test that, and it does it without breaking a sweat, even on very difficult to drive headphones like planars or the heads. because there's so much power on tap here, you end up having the volume basically, especially on the Composer, it sits below 9 o'clock, so here all the time, whereas maybe the GTs and the planars and stuff maybe sit between 10, 11. I never got past 12 o'clock, I have to say that. So with that in mind, it would have been nice to have a -6 dB switch on it so you can lower that output a little bit so you can get a better range on the volume. But in their technical paper, they did explain why they didn't do that. Also, I have to say, I'm a little bit just curious about this gate here. I'm not sure what purpose it serves, but because I had it open all the time and I used the 4-pin connector quite a bit, so I'm not sure I understand that decision to put a little sliding gate on that. Other than that, good job so far. Now, how does it sound? Even though the distributor sent this unit to me, the thoughts and opinions are mine and mine alone. So how does this thing sound? Let's first address that true Transient Technology button on the front. This definitely falls into the subtle territory. Although I did hear what it did to the sound, and to me, I just left it in all the time. It changes the color a little bit, but when you push it in, you get more separation in the top end, more detailed top end, and you get a wider stereo perspective. It just sounds better to me with it in. And definitely in the number 1 category, it definitely improves the transient response, the rhythmic drive of this amplifier. I did compare the sound on the same headphones between the 1/4-inch output and the 4-pin output, and on this unit, the 4-pin definitely sounds wider and marginally fuller, a little bit more detail for sure. So I prefer to listen to this on the 4-pin connector, but I do think that the 1/4-inch are actually good sounding too on this unit. This unit is very detailed and analytical. It's on the analytical side, but don't lose musicality. It's slightly on the bright side, but with a very tight bottom end. With the TT switch in, the rhythmic drive is great, and the transients are very, very good. It just had, compared to much more expensive units, it just lacks that slight bit of leading edge transients to the instruments. It has a very, very balanced upper mid treble region, and I appreciate that. It has a very tight bass with detail in the bass, which is also great. I just think that the unit itself could use just a touch of warmth to give a little more bloom to the sound. Of course, when you use the XLR 4-pin, you get greater separation and a more defined width compared to the 1/4-inch. And this thing definitely has an iron grip on the headphones. And this is with lower impedance headphones too, which is very impressive. Even over extended period of times and if stuff is stacked on it, it just doesn't get hot. You don't have to be too careful about giving it lots of space to get it to cool off. I did find it easy to make mixed decisions on this unit, EQ moves and compressor moves. It's very good in the studio. It definitely sits squarely in the upper echelons of what I've heard. It's a really good value for $1,500. I mean, if you need a high-end headphone amplifier, this is definitely should be on your short list. But I do think that the build quality alone is worth the price of admission here. What I do have to say is that when you're talking about that bloom and timbre quality of instruments, it's good, very good actually, but I have heard better. The leading edge of that instrument, the attack and bow hitting a violin or something like that, and the ensemble sound in an orchestra, for example, or a drum kit. I don't think the timbre on this unit is on par with the Chord Alto and the Ohr by Ferrum. But they're also more expensive, especially the Ohr with the dedicated power supply, almost double the price here, if not double the price. But there is some things that in the timbre and the leading edge of the instrument that's kind of not on par with them, but you're also paying twice the money. So there you have that. So all in all, I do recommend this unit. I think you should definitely put it on a short list of things to try, and you won't be sorry, because it is a very, very good tool for the studio. However, you got to realize though that this unit can't function as a preamp, but in a way I like that, because it's simple and you know what you're getting yourself into when you get this, and it definitely needs a good pair of headphones to show its true colors. So yeah, I recommend this unit for sure. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, take care.